Emotional intelligence, what is it? That's the exact question almost everyone asks. And the shocking truth is, 90% of people don't really understand it. Sure, they've heard the term, but if you ask them to explain it, they stumble. And that's why so many brilliant minds end up struggling in relationships, careers, and even their own inner peace. Because knowing what is emotional intelligence and how to use it changes everything. Now here's the controversial part. Most people completely misunderstand the emotional intelligence meaning. They think it's about being nice, suppressing emotions, or simply reading someone's body language. Wrong. Emotional intelligence, explained the right way, is about recognizing, managing, and using emotions effectively, yours and others. Imagine being able to stay calm under pressure, spark motivation when others give up, or turn conflict into collaboration. That's not soft, it's strength. And here's the best part. Learning these emotional intelligence skills doesn't take years of therapy or some complicated emotional intelligence test. With the right approach, you can begin building EQ today, and the results are quick. Better communication, stronger leadership, emotional maturity, and a quiet confidence that pulls people toward you. Stick with me, because in this video we'll go beyond the usual cliches and dive deep into the real emotional intelligence definition, with practical examples, exercises, and habits you can apply right away. The hidden power of emotional intelligence. Why IQ isn't enough. People often believe success is all about brains, degrees, or raw talent. But here's the kicker. High IQ alone doesn't guarantee a thriving life. In fact, many people with impressive resumes still struggle to manage stress, build lasting relationships, or even communicate effectively. That's where the big question pops up again. Emotional intelligence. What is it? It's the missing piece most never talk about, and it explains why two people with similar skills can have completely different outcomes in life. Take this example. Think about the coworker who's brilliant at their job but always clashes with the team. They might ace every technical challenge, but without emotional intelligence skills like empathy, patience, and social awareness, they hit a wall. On the other hand, someone with average IQ but strong EQ climbs the ladder, builds trust, and leads with influence. That's the real edge. It's not about IQ versus EQ. It's about how the two work together, with emotional intelligence often tipping the scale. And here's where it gets interesting. Signs of emotional intelligence aren't flashy or complicated. They show up in everyday choices, like pausing before reacting to criticism or encouraging a friend when they're down. These emotional intelligence examples reveal that the real power isn't knowing every answer, but knowing how to handle emotions, both yours and others. And if that sounds like something rare, wait until you see how self-awareness, just one part of EQ, becomes the foundation for everything else. Self-awareness, the foundation of emotional intelligence. At the heart of emotional intelligence definition lies something deceptively simple: self-awareness. It means noticing what's going on inside you, your moods, triggers, and the stories you tell yourself, before they control your behavior. Think about how often people say, "I don't know what came over me." That's a classic sign of low emotional intelligence. On the flip side, those with emotional maturity recognize their emotions in the moment and choose how to respond. That tiny pause between feeling and action is where emotional power lives. Picture this. You're about to give a presentation at work and feel your chest tighten. Someone with low EQ might panic or stumble through. Someone with high EQ notices the fear, breathes, reframes the nerves as energy, and delivers with confidence. That's self-awareness in action. It's not about eliminating emotions, but using them wisely. In fact, emotional intelligence in leadership often starts with leaders who are brutally honest with themselves before trying to guide others. The best way to build self-awareness isn't abstract, it's practical. Journaling daily to track your emotional patterns, taking an emotional intelligence test to see your strengths and weaknesses, or even asking a trusted friend how you come across. These simple emotional intelligence exercises reveal blind spots most people never see. And here's the kicker. Once you truly understand yourself, you unlock the door to self-regulation, the next essential skill that turns awareness into emotional control. Self-regulation, mastering emotional self-control. If self-awareness is noticing your emotions, self-regulation is choosing what to do with them. This is where emotional self-control and emotion regulation come into play. People with low emotional intelligence signs often explode in anger, withdraw when stressed, or make rash decisions. But those with high EQ can feel the same emotions and still steer their reactions wisely. It's like having the steering wheel of your inner world firmly in your hands instead of letting emotions drive you off course. Think about road rage. Two drivers face the same situation. Someone cuts them off. One screams, honks, ruins his whole day. The other takes a deep breath, shrugs it off, and keeps going. Both felt frustration, but only one practiced emotional intelligence skills by regulating it. That same principle applies at work when you get harsh feedback, or at home when your partner forgets something important. How you manage the moment defines your relationships and your reputation. Developing this muscle isn't guesswork. Try the 10-second rule. Pause before reacting to anything that triggers you, or practice mindfulness meditation, which science shows improves emotional intelligence growth. Even something as simple as exercising regularly strengthens your brain's ability to regulate emotions. These emotional intelligence tips aren't just theory, they're daily habits that build resilience. And once you've learned to manage yourself, the next step is learning how to step into someone else's shoes. Empathy. Empathy, the secret ingredient of connection. If self-regulation keeps you in control of yourself, empathy opens the door to understanding others. At its core, empathy is the ability to tune into how someone else feels, sometimes even before they say a word. Many people confuse empathy with sympathy, but here's the difference. Sympathy says, "I feel bad for you," while empathy says, "I'm with you in this." That's why empathy skills are often seen as the backbone of emotional intelligence in relationships and even emotional intelligence at work. Consider this. A manager who only focuses on results may push their team to exhaustion. But a manager with emotional intelligence skills notices the tension in the room, asks how people are really doing, and adjusts. The result? Higher trust, more loyalty, and ironically, better results. That's empathy in action. In friendships too, being able to listen without jumping in with advice immediately often matters more than solving the problem. People don't always want answers, they want to be understood. So, how do you build empathy? Start with active listening. Put your phone down, look someone in the eye, and really pay attention. Practice asking open-ended questions like, "How did that make you feel?" or "What do you need right now?" Even reading novels can expand empathy by putting you inside different characters' minds. These emotional intelligence exercises sharpen your ability to connect, which naturally strengthens your social skills. And that's exactly where we're heading next. Social skills, turning emotional intelligence into influence. Once self-awareness, self-regulation, and empathy are in place, everything comes together in social skills. This is where emotional intelligence skills show up in real-world interactions. How you communicate, resolve conflicts, inspire, and lead. People often underestimate this, but emotional intelligence and communication is the glue that holds teams, relationships, and communities together. Without it, even great ideas fall flat. With it, doors open effortlessly. Imagine someone who walks into a room and instantly makes people feel at ease. They're not necessarily the smartest, richest, or best-looking person there, but they have traits of high emotional intelligence, warmth, humor, confidence, without arrogance. That's why in the battle of EQ versus IQ, EQ often wins when it comes to leadership, negotiation, and persuasion. Just think of great leaders like Nelson Mandela or Oprah Winfrey. Their genius wasn't only in their words, but in how they connected with others emotionally. To sharpen your own social skills, start small. Practice remembering people's names, send a quick message to check in on a colleague, or join groups where communication is key. If you want to level up, take emotional intelligence training focused on public speaking or conflict resolution. Over time, these habits transform your presence and impact. And when you combine social skills with all the other emotional intelligence basics, you don't just survive socially, you thrive. Which brings us to the bigger picture. How can you put all of this into practice to change your life starting today? So, let me ask you straight. Now that you've seen emotional intelligence explained, what's stopping you from actually using it? Knowing what is EQ and understanding the emotional intelligence meaning is one thing. but living it is where the magic happens. Imagine the impact if tomorrow you walked into work more composed, listened more deeply to your loved ones, or simply paused before reacting. These are not small tweaks, they're life-changing habits. Here's the challenge. Which of the emotional intelligence skills do you want to strengthen first? Self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, or social skills? Don't just think about it. Pick one and commit today. Write it down, practice it, and notice how your relationships, confidence, and influence begin to shift. Remember, the signs of emotional intelligence are not about perfection, they're about growth. And growth is available to you right now. Before you go, I want to provoke you a bit. If you don't start applying this, what will it cost you? Missed opportunities? Broken connections? Stress eating away at your health? You already know why emotional intelligence matters. The question is, are you going to act on it? If you're ready to grow, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay with me. We'll keep uncovering the real tools, tips, and emotional intelligence exercises that most people overlook. Let's build your EQ together.